1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. To the side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up, reach down, 1, 2, 3, to your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale, hands up, reach down, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, center, inhale, exhale, hands up one more time, reach down, 1, 2, 3, to your right, 2, 3, to your left, 2, 3, center, inhale, exhale, hands on your waist, circular movements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center cross, knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Hands on your waist, neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center, hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Open, spread your feet, turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Well, shake out the hands, legs relax, stretch it out. Switch. 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 Switch, straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Okay, center. Okay, shake it out. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So actually stretching is something that a lot of people think it's just spreading your legs and it's, one direction or the other. But actually stretching is actually movement. So when you stretch, it's actually your muscles working in a coordinated fashion, so you transition through positions. So while we're bending over and letting one muscle kind of release, it's really still a balance between the two. So tension is the restricting side of what doesn't allow either stretching or movement. So when you transition through positions, your musculature is actually working to allow you to create a position. So we have so many groups of muscles in the body that you have to kind of go through all these manipulations in order to get your body into these positions. And as you stretch, your muscles become programmed to allow you to get into a position, like a downward posture or standing. All of these become positions that if you have tension, it's not going to allow you to create that skeletal structure, which is really the joint angle positions. So, range of motion, increasing that range is really what allows the movements to be free. Now, if this is as far as it goes, something's restricting it. So that's what we try to learn and overcome, and that's actually what I think is the most beneficial part of doing what we do, is because not only we're building motor skill, coordination, range of motion, it's sort of overcoming all the bad habits we've created through our lifetime, from childhood on up to senior citizens. What happens as you get older? We get stiffer, we get less coordinated, we get much more dysfunctional. Whereas when you're an infant, you don't have any muscular resistance because we haven't developed any. And so the body's pretty free. When a baby's born, their ankle is kind of like, think about your Achilles. The toe is almost touching the shin. And then all of a sudden, it comes down, and then you stand on it, and you create strength in your legs so that you don't tip over. And pretty soon your ankles don't move anymore beyond a certain point. So your body adapts, and the ligaments and tendons develop, positions, and then you strengthen the muscles to keep you in a position. And what happens is that if you don't move them over time, it just gets pretty rigid. So that's why stretching is important, but it has to be mobile stretching, not just sort of bouncing and forcing your body to fold over. You have to move through the position to get your body to do that. So, an example is when we're here, then we would want to go to here. Then that sets up some positions. But when you're here, and then you want this joint to turn into this position, that has to release in order for the ligaments and tendons to take you to the other side. And if it doesn't do that, it's only like this position or that position or this position. So even doing something like this, where you turn your wrists, it's a kind of a motion, but there's no restriction. And because our ligaments and tendons are reacting and responding to movement, then it can't be really stiff. See what I mean? So that's something that we should try to understand and then work through it. Now, what I just did was something that takes some time to build over time, because you have to have flexibility and range of motion in different directions, and those joints will become adaptable. It's like your shoulder going over like this. It doesn't normally want to do that unless you sort of practice going over your head or going up to here. So that's an increase in range of motion, but at the same time, you don't have restrictions here and here. And then if you get to a point where it's kind of conflicted, you know not to go there, but then if you're doing it in a relaxed state, you're not going to force it. So fast movement, quick movement, and sudden movement can cause, some injury if it's too forceful. Like, your ankle can bend like this and like this, but what happens when you step on a crack or step off somewhere and your ankle goes like that? Well, if there's lots of weight and force on it, it will injure the joint, whether it's the connective tissue or the ligament, the tendon, the muscle. It gets strained, and the strain is that it did more than it's supposed to, and then you have to try to get it to heal back, provided the joint is in the correct position. Because sometimes it'll heal and it still hurts for a long time because it's not healed correctly. So, these are kind of things that you just learn through experience, right? Okay, so next we're going to do the shoulder roll. Reverse. And center. Okay. Press, release, exhale, inhale. And stop. Hands up, pull an inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, wrists. Reverse. and center. Okay, palms down. Circle and movement. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, shifting your weight side to side. Using the mirrors, we can go. Okay, let's bring the foot over and lift up. Lift up. So try to find the center, then we're going to just go straight up. And then let it down. Shift. And shake it out. Okay. Twist to the center. And switch. And center. Side to side. Switch. And center. Shake it out. Deep breathing. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Silk rilling. Switch. Okay. Open and close. Switch. Okay, center, circular movements. Okay, lower hoop, rounding out. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Okay, palms down. Extend. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Part the horse's mane. Switch. Okay, Sana. Cloud hands. Okay, palms down. Lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. Okay, infinity sign. And form the fist. Okay, palms together, strum the lute. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, switch. And center. Back to center, turn, draw the bow. Okay, scoop down, lift up, fan through the back, one on each side. Okay, center, raise the hand. Okay, palms down, deep breathing, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, so we'll go through the Tai Chi Paradigm form. Okay, ready? Feet parallel. Okay, deep breathing. Okay, shake it out. So I think one of the biggest challenge for people trying to learn a sequence like this online, especially with YouTube, is the fact that the form is mapped out in the space, and it gets confusing as to whether it's mirror image or following the same side, and what happens when you get into that direction. So, if you look at the form, you have to pick a room or pick a space that has a front, and you have a right and left, okay? So that gives you the perspective of the frontal side turning to your right and turning to your left. So if you see whoever's teaching the class, in this case it's me, if you're following me from the back, we should be doing the same side. When you see me from the front view and we're facing each other, it's going to be mirror image. So if I'm doing this side, you're doing the same side. That's what a mirror image is. So that's where it gets confusing, because when you do the form, you're following on the right, the same side, and then we turn, and then we're facing each other. Now everything's reversed. So that's where most people lose track of the form. But if you look at the form, when we start here, the first direction we turn to is here, and that's where grasp the sparrow's tail is. Then we pan back into the front. Then after we finish the few movements that are on the front side, we end up turning to our left. Okay. So once we turn to the left, this whole leg of the form going in this direction and to this direction is really the linear side of the form. So when I do the linear movements using the mirror, you're always following from behind, so you won't have the confusion as to which side is which. That's the easiest way to follow form, because when we do group form, you're always following the person in front of you, not necessarily seeing the hands. But in this case, because we have the back side and I'm doing this side or this side, you can see, so all you have to do is turn to the right or left. But then you really can't see the hands if I didn't have the mirrors. So the advantage that we have filming in this room is that you can see my hands and you can see the configurations that I'm forming, so that you just have to mimic exactly what is going on. So that would be brush knee. So when we go in that direction in this linear side after doing this section, because let's just do this section from the front going this way and this way, it's fairly easy to track because you're seeing this from behind, right? So once I get to my left side and I go forward, that's easy to follow. And then you can see that I'm turning in this direction. I drop my elbow, which is a transition that we've already learned, and I got my right side going forward. So you're looking at me from the side view, and that's fairly easy to follow. Okay. Then I hook my wrist and I turn in this direction. Now this, you can see, you're still following me from behind. There's your diagonal flying. That was your setup for diagonal flying. And then this is stepping up with the right vertical to right horizontal. Step up and raise the hand. Then from the waist, stork flaps wings. And we're here. So those two sections are actually pretty easy to follow. It's when I turn this way that you can't really see it as well, and you're seeing it from the side view, and it gets a little confusing because of the footwork and so forth. So if we take this position and we turn, and then take this position and superimpose it back onto the front side, you would see that I'm going to do brush knee 4 times. So we have a format for the brush knee, which are on some of the other videos, so that we have the brush knee. So then you can see yourself if you have a mirror, go through this. After you've learned and memorized the sequence, then you can watch yourself in the mirror to see if it looks like what you see in the mirror here. Now strum the lute would be this. Now we turn 45 degrees, palm up, lean forward, and close the door. Form the fists, step up, punch. This is your infinity side, which is divert and block. We punch, then the left hand goes to the outside, and we finish this movement, which you would have ended up here before going back to neutral, and we would have fist on the elbow. Once you have completed fist on the elbow, you're going to go back to neutral, go forward. Now we're going to do Repulse the Monkey, which is going backwards. It's called Retreat and Repulse the Monkey. So we're still doing it in a linear fashion, looking to the front and to the right corner, straightening out the back foot. So this is what is easier to follow, seeing the hands, the turn, the straightening of the back foot, and then reversing. So this is Retreat and Repulse the Monkey. We finish the third one. It started on his left, we did a right, now we go back to neutral right side, and we hold the ball. We toe out, step up, we turn toward the right, and then diagonal flying. Then we sit back. We pull the foot in next to the other one, go up, insert the needle. So the right hand is inserting the needle. You step out, we cross like this, and we turn to the right, and we do fan through the back. So fan through the back would be this, looking at the position. This hand's in front of the forehead, the legs are in the horse stance, and this hand is directly in line with the side of the body. Okay, so that's, this whole leg. So we're going to do this leg that we just did in the mirror, so you can kind of follow that, right? So we're here, we just went in this direction, and we have brushed knee 4 times. So we did the brush knee, push twice. Right. On the third one, we go to the left, and you would see through the mirror that we twist out, we turn to the left, and push. So it's a left push. We go back to the right side, horizontal, we turn to the right, that's because the elbow determines which direction you're going to turn. The inside hand goes down, and we push. Now we're on the left side, neutral, again. Actually, most of the setups on the left side. Shift. Now we're going to step up to the shoulder width stance. Close the door. Form the fists and punch. Okay, we'll have to sit back, divert, block, and punch again. So you have that series. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. So this is where this piece stops. Then we go back to neutral. Now to prepare for the Repulse the Monkey, we set this up for fist under elbow. Then we go to neutral, and the left side goes out rounding, and then you straighten the back foot, and you reverse. This is brush knee hand movements, but it's Repulse the Monkey left side. Now we're going to the right side, press forward, elbow says to turn to the right, the rear leg straightens, we pass through the back to the reverse stance. Now the right hand is going to push. So there's your second one, and then the third one, straighten the back foot, we're turning to the left, reversing the stance, that means swapping feet, flip the hands, and that's the last hand movement for Repulse the Monkey. that's a push, back to neutral right, and we hold the ball, toe out, step up, diagonal flying, sit back to neutral, toe in, right goes up, knee goes up on the left, and then you drop it back in, take a step forward, reach out here just to get your hand in position so they're crossed. Sit back, set up the feet, shift your weight, fan to the back. Okay, then the next movement is going to go in that direction, which is parry and punch. So those two sections are something you can watch in the mirror. Try to work it with the mirror. Once you've memorized it, at least gone through it several times, that's the piece that's going to happen in this direction. So that's how you can build your form, and this video is specifically teaching you that leg of the form. And if you can memorize that, then we can work on the next section of the form after fan to the back, which would be parry and punch, and then there's a repeat, and then right after that push that's going to happen over there will be the left side movements, which would have to go over from beginning of those movements using the mirror to build the section, and it kind of take us near the end of the form. So that's Tai Chi Paradigm. We're going to move on to the 108 movement. And if we think about the 108 movement form, it's the same thing. We have this linear section, and it takes us over there and then back, and we'll define those by looking toward this mirror, right? And then the obliques are the pieces that are pretty challenging as far as footwork, but other than that, there's no new postures that are in that series. And there's another section of repeat, then we begin the kicks. So the kicks actually only happen in this direction as well. So this side of the form that's always parallel to the front wall generally has most of your movements. So if we take that section and always look at it from the mirror image using the mirror, not this mirror image, because you can't follow me from behind unless we use the mirror, and I think that's sometimes a little tricky. So you can build the whole form using this linear concept. And then once you've built and understood which posture follows which one and how it looks, then you can kind of sort it out, because each piece of the new sections is right after the cloud hands. So in the long form, we have 3 sets of cloud hands. The first section, which is the biggest section, takes us to the first set of cloud hands. That's followed by the kicks. The next set of cloud hands takes us to a posture called downward posture, and that gives us a section that will be a repeat. And then just before those, we're in a position repeating the obliques that will give us a section with the Part the Horse's Mane and Jade Lady work shuttle with a different mapping of footwork. But the Jade Lady work Part the Horse's Mane you've already learned in the Tai Chi Paradigm, so that's not new either. Then after the second set of cloud hands that we do the big repeat, after the third set of cloud hands, we have a section that has a few new postures and a couple of kicks and some closing movements. But after the third set of cloud hand, it's like that last section repeats itself within that framework of that small section. So that's taking us to from, say, somewhere in the 90s. If we're thinking of a 108 movement form, then the last section would be maybe 18 postures or something like that, somewhere in that range. So there's about 20 different positions you're going through near the end, and each section in between the cloud hands sections in itself. So that's how you can kind of look at it, and anyone that's learned the long form would begin to understand that that's what it's like. Now what's confusing for most people learning is that we enter this position, this single whip position quite a few times in the front. So that's where everything gets all mixed up. Because after the set of cloud hands, what happens next? So you can't really distinguish what happens next because most of it isn't in the long-term memory. Because once it's in the long-term memory, that's when and this is where is the biggest challenge for people knowing the long form. If you can't get into a position after a certain set of cloud hands or a position that just happened, it's probably because you're only memorizing it from beginning to end, and you have to go through it from beginning to kind of get to where you think you're supposed to be. So once you've learned the form and it's, in your subconscious and you've done it enough, then you can actually walk into the room, join the class, and just follow along and know where you are without kind of scratching your head saying, oh, where are they? So anyone here today probably is in that position where they can just kind of join in, right? No? Yep. Okay, so let's go through the first section of the long form, and then we can kind of pick through it, all right? So this is just like the Tai Chi Paradigm in the beginning. And we're going to step up and go through the motion. So this is the long form. This section is identical. Strum the lute, close the door, form the fists, punch, divert, block, and punch. Okay. So once you get to here, this is where it changes. It goes right to carry tiger to the mountain. So what you've learned from the Tai Chi Paradigm is that you would go to your left side. But in this form, we don't have the left sides. So we end up in the cross hand with the right hand on the outside instead of the left hand, right? So we're here, and this is the obliques. You turn to the corner, brush, knee, and push. We go back to center, go forward, turn 180 degrees, brush, knee, left, push. So the only difference is you had a 180-degree turn. Right side grasp the sparrow's tail. And because we have to use the same footwork, we pivot a quarter turn and we go to the corner. This is your oblique single whip. Then we turn, bring us all the way around to where fist under elbow happens. And this is just like the Tai Chi Paradigm's fist under elbow. And what happens? Repulse the monkey. So now this section is so the only section that we have is the obliques that will take us to this point, and it's just reconstructing your form with this same series of movements. And we're going to do it 3 times as usual. And then it's going to change. We go to neutral, bring the hands down. Instead of going to diagonal flying, we go to carry tiger to the mountain with a twist step. We open the stance by moving the foot wide and then go down into a horse stance. Then we bring the hands down as if we're crossing through center to hold the ball. So when we're in carry tiger to the mountain, we have this cross hand position. So just take the hands and do them one at a time. The second hand doesn't come down to the bottom, it stays up on top. That's hold the ball, you shift, and then you're in the diagonal flying again, and then we shift and we repeat what we did in the early part of the form where we step up and raise the hand. So we know these transitions. You bend from the waist, and we know from the first section of the form that when we turn here, we're in the brush knee movements. So you do one brush knee instead of two, and now we're in a position to do insert needle. Step up, fan through the back. Now we turn, parry and punch is the same. And then we step backwards instead of forward. Divert, block, and punch. And instead of cross hands, we step up for right side grasp the sparrow's tail. And then we're back into single whip. And this is where the first set of cloud hands begins. Okay, shake it out. So that section, that's sort of a synopsis of the sequence and what happens at the different points in the form. So it's, for most of us that have learned the form, when we bring it out like this, it actually makes a lot of sense. And then you say, well, why didn't I learn it like this the first time? But you wouldn't be able to identify all of these without actually learning the Tai Chi Paradigm form. So the Tai Chi Paradigm was a prerequisite to learning the long form. And that's by chance it's like that, because the Tai Chi Paradigm form, I developed that sequence probably 20-something years ago. It became the short form that I taught outside Belmont Council on Aging, Harvard Pilgrim, Harvard Vanguard. I taught all these short that specific form, on all the off-site programs. So it became a form that a lot of people were learning, and the people at the academy didn't even learn this form. I only taught the long form back in the beginning. But then I realized that the people that learned the long form should know the Tai Chi Paradigm form. So I brought it in to the academy, and we started teaching it, and it became the prerequisite to the long form. And if you notice, coincidentally, it's exactly the same. So it makes sense that it should be the prerequisite, because you learn it, especially the first section of form, you've already got a big piece of the form. And one big advantage of the Tai Chi Paradigm form is it has both sides. We do left side movements that you may not actually experience until you start to teach. Because a lot of times when you teach, you have to do the mirror image. And if you're doing mirror image, you'd have to learn it. But if you do the Tai Chi Paradigm, you already know a lot of the mirror image positions. Now, if you're doing brush knee, Jade Lady work shuttle, part the horse's mane, in the drills, you're already doing both sides. So those are already paired. But grasp the sparrow's tail is only done on the right side in the long form. And parry and punch is only done on the right side in the long form, and as well as the Tai Chi Paradigm form, it's only on the right side. So the drill that we do for the infinity sign actually teaches us both sides. Now, whether you can do it in the stance or not, it's not that difficult, because we've learned the motions. Those patterns are already built into our body. The body's like our system, and we've already learned that. So that's really the first section of long form. If you know the Tai Chi Paradigm, you can understand those grouping of movements, then you're ready to do the kicks, right? So when we do the kicks, we're actually facing that way because we have the cloud hands. There's a slight difference in the cloud hands that we won't go into today. We'll go into the next section, because after the cloud hands, you would turn, you would end up like this. And we've reviewed this before, but if we take the mirror image or following from behind, you could see that the hands would do this. We step out, flip the hands over, step up, and we'll fold the elbows, we lift the knee, and we do a kick with the right foot, and we put it back down. We reset the hands, cross the forearms, open, flip it over, fold the elbows, toe out, step up, lift the knees, kick. Now the next movement is actually reversing like this. And then you're going to end up turning, and you end up with your left foot forward. Now this is where it's confusing, because if I do my left foot, you won't be able to track it as well. So let's finish that last kick that was on the left side and just put it down. So this is where you would end up after the turn. So the hand goes down, you fold the elbows, and you do your left kick. And then you're back in this position. So you have your three kicks: the right instep kick, the left instep kick, the left heel kick. But we're using the mirror as a reference, so we're just going to go to the next movement after the heel kick, which is your right side brush knee. Now when we go to the left side, we have the left side brush knee. Then we set up again like we're doing a brush knee. We toe out, we step up, and we create the planting punch. So instead of a brush knee, we're going to do a brush knee and then strike down like you're doing a hammer, doing the hammer fist, or striking with a hammer, and this hand comes like this. So it's almost like insert needle, but you're in the front leg lean, right? So you're like this, 1. Now, we have to sit back and turn to do the parry and punch again. But because that's on the opposite side, what I'm going to do is step up, turn, and do the parry and punch. Then I'm going to step up, and we're in the same position as we were after the cloud hands, and we're going to do the first set of hand movements in the cloud hands. But this time we're going to do a big giant step that crosses behind us and go 45 degrees into this corner. We go up like this to Jade Lady Workshop. Now we're in that corner. That's really 90 degrees to the camera, and then we're going to go like this and turn to the back rear corner, and that's like a Jade Lady Work shuttle, but it's really called Beat the Tiger, and we're going to turn to here. We lower the hands, cross the hands, level the hands, lift the knee, and then heel kick. Then we're going to bring the hands down, do 2 punches to the ear, and we're going to drop the right hand and place the left hand on top. Flip it over right in your center, turn the foot out, and fold your elbows. Lift the knee, turn the hip to your right, open to your left, reverse the stance, go toe, heel, toe, and then meanwhile your hands flip over, you cross like this, you fold your elbows, you lift your elbows, and then we're back to this. 1, parry and punch, that's the second time we did that. Form your fists, punch, divert, block, punch, cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain, and then we're down here, and we carry tiger to the mountain. So this is a repeat of the obliques, okay? And once you get through the obliques, you'll have a reverse the ball that takes you into pot the horse's mane and diagonal, pot the horse's mane and Jade Lady Work shuttle. So see, that's the format. So if you learn this leg of the kicks in this frontal view, then you can identify what each individual kick is like on the right side and the left side. There's some common transitions that we have. One of them being this, which is reversing. The crossing will, the right hand is on top. When you flip it over and you step up and fold your elbows, the right hand is going to be on the outside. That's the side you kick. If I put this hand like this and I cross over, my left hand's on top. When I open and flip, my left hand is underneath, and so happens it ends up on the outside, on the left, and you do a toe kick again, or instep kick. And then because we're going to the left side heel kick, we made our 180-degree turn if we're doing the form, but because we're not turning, we're already in position. Just drop the top hand on top. Make your fists, fold your elbows. The left hand is already on the outside, and you do a heel kick. And then you're back to neutral, and then that's where you have your two brush knee and your planting punch. So, while you're learning this, there's a format to learn it, to identify your postures without kind of just going through the motions. See, movement is something that we learn by mimicking. But if it's not logical to you and you don't see the patterns and the format, then you're just memorizing what you think you see. And you don't pick up enough detail by looking at an image right away, because it goes in and then it's a snapshot. But because these are movements, you can't take enough snapshots to recall what you see. So then you keep saying, well, I can't remember that, I can't remember that. So what you have to do is actually go through this procedure of identifying the units, the transitions, what happens with each appendage, and then you start to recognize transitions. So we have leg work, we have shifting of weight. There's a lot of things going on. That's why it's pretty challenging to learn in the beginning until you build your coordination, identifying the posture, and building some sequential memory. Now each form is actually a mini sequence. Each posture is a mini sequence. So while you're building these postures and identify them, then you'll have these sorted out over time, and there's really about 37 postures. So you say, well, it's only 37 postures. It's still a lot. It's the transitions and the linking of the movements together. What happens when in the sequence that's confusing. So why do we have so many postures linked together, or why do we have those 37 linked together to have such a long sequence? Because Tai Chi is a form of active meditation. So meditation is in the moment consciousness of position, the mind-body relationship in a stillness. And you're clearing your thoughts, so your body gets to learn to relax and to begin to focus on something, whether it's your breathing, a spot on the wall, just learning to clear your mind. That's what meditation is theoretically for, so you're kind of relaxing your brain, giving it a chance to just calm down. So in Tai Chi, the first thing to do when you get into the mode is to relax the mind, because you have to relax the mind in order to relax the body. But relaxing the body is a concept that has to be sort of diagnosed in your own body so that you can feel what that feels like. So relaxing is not an easy word to interpret. But if you think of relaxing as releasing tension in your joints, then your body will start to let go. But you have to develop a control mechanism that lets you feel like, well, it's relaxing by dropping, or relaxing by letting go, by sinking. So you use these concepts, or these terms that I use: sinking, dropping, release the tension by sinking your elbow and relaxing the shoulder. So if your arm is like this, when you let it go, it starts to drop. what's acting on your joints is gravity. So as your body is getting sensitive and aware that when you release tension, it creates a motion, right? When you release tension in your knees, what happens? Your body descends. It starts to go down. That's called sinking. You know, you drop a weight in water, it goes to the bottom because the water can't support it. It's not buoyant enough. The obstacle is not buoyant enough. A piece of lead will drop. I guess if it's a ping pong ball, it's going to stay up on top because it has air. It doesn't have enough density. But our body, when we release, has enough mass to take us down. So if you use that idea of stacking your body, aligning your body, then your posture is going to be stacked and it's supported through alignment of your position. And the alignment of your position requires releasing tension in the musculature so there's a balance. So then you can feel if your body becomes misaligned, standing on one leg, it's aligning your skeletal structure so you have verticalness. So when I speak of vertical and horizontal, those are all the things that we need to understand as a sense of what that is as a position. Muscle memory is joint angle memory. So the more sensitive you are to a position and the more relaxed you are, meaning releasing excessive tension, then the better your position and postures will be, as well as your movement. So when does that happen? When you learn to delete excessive tension in the body? In stillness. So holding a position in the standing part of the standing meditation is when your body learns to delete excessiveness. When does it delete excessiveness? When you hold the position long enough, not 10 seconds, 10 minutes, then your body will start to recognize over time that you're not using strength to hold the position. You're learning to dial in exactly how much strength it is to maintain the position before it collapses, and how much it takes to lift it up without dropping. It becomes a real fine line. So every position has that sort of thing. So I call it the erroneous motion or the erroneous strength. Excessiveness comes from sort of tensing your fingers and not letting that go, because it's not required to hold this. So anything that's not required to hold the position, you have to get rid of it. But we can't get rid of it by just thinking about getting rid of it. Your body detects what getting rid of it is through its proprioception, its sensitivity, its feeling of what it takes. Then your body becomes smarter. It's more intelligent because it starts to know, it starts to recognize. That's the amazing part of learning this. That's what Tai Chi offers if you practice it to a level where you start to begin to build this understanding. So that's, body intelligence, body mechanics, geometry of position, and then integration of body is another stage that you go through with your transitions, which is timing and phasing and accuracy of movement. Also, all of that stuff is part of evolving. So learning the form is just the basic vehicle to learn and house these postures, but you use it. It's your vehicle for practice and training. And then you supplement that with your fundamental training, which is what I call the warm-ups. Then as you build off of this concept, your body starts to understand, and everything that you do starts to feed each other. They start talking to each other like your computer, like all this stuff that you put into a file and into the hard drive and so forth. This is your hard drive. This is where your files are stored. So it's really information, whether it's visual, it's audio, feeling, everything that we're talking about is all part of it, because our system is so amazing as far as what it can adapt and what it can do, that you'll discover over time that this is what has to happen and it will happen. So on that note, it's 11 o'clock, class is over, we're ready to sign off. We didn't get to do the long form because in this class I'm planning to teach you more of the long form sectionally and allow you to learn it before we string it together. Now, if you want to string it together, watch our Tai Chi classes where there's not a lot of talking, but a lot of following. Then you get the visuals. So what you learn here, watch those classes and you can see if you can, go through the copying mode, and that should be a good experience too. So anyways, on that note, hope you got something out of this. Signing off. I'll see you next time. Thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification button. We're almost at 1,000. I don't know what that's going to do, but when we hit 1,000, it should be, maybe another bell will ring. All right.